Kia ora tātou katoa. Ko Pererika Mākia tōku ingoa. My name is Pererika Mākiha. I'm the Kaihautu Māori for Coastguard New Zealand.
Talofa, Malolele, Kia orana, Nisa Bula Vanaka. My name is Chris Lafale and I'm an operational volunteer with Coastguard Papakura.
Crossing a bar is a high-risk boating activity, even for an experienced boatie. The most important part of your job as a skipper is to make decisions that will get everyone home safely.
Key things to remember here are to never attempt a bar crossing without the correct knowledge and experience. So what is a bar? Bars are found outside the entrance of a river or a harbour mouth, and they are a build-up of sand which continuously changes with the shifting sand and silt. Sandbars are very dangerous for boats to cross because they are always changing and they become unpredictable hazards. Every bar is different, so it's important to understand the local features of the bar that you plan to cross.
Planning starts before you leave home. In the days leading up to your trip, make sure your boat has been serviced and is seaworthy. The following acronym will aid you ensuring the relevant equipment is on your boat. PASSBF, Pass Before. P stands for Personal Flotation Device, life jacket. Ensure there is a correctly fitted life jacket with a quad strap for everyone on board the boat. A is for anchor, chain and warp. S is for signalling equipment. A minimum of 2 forms of communication, i.e. VHF radio, mobile phone and a waterproof zip lock bag. Flares or EPIRB. Second S is for secondary propulsion, auxiliary motor or oars. B is for baler, bilge pump, and F is for fire extinguisher. Make sure that you have enough fuel. Use the 1/3 fuel rule. Have 1/3 for the trip out, 1/3 for the trip home, and 1/3 spare.
Always check the marine weather forecast and be sure to look at the wind and the swell. You can find this information on our Coastguard app. And it's important to know the tide times for both heading out and coming back across the bar. Plan a trip timeline for getting out and getting back across the bar.
The Port Waikato River Bar is a great place for fishing and recreation, but it can be very dangerous in the wrong conditions. Check the weather both for when you will be going out and when you are coming back in. Be aware of wind against tide, as often in the morning if the conditions are calm. That can change in the afternoon when you want to come home. The tides for the Waikato River Bar, 2 hours either side of high tide is the best time. Be careful mid-tide, as this can often be running huge amounts of volume of water through this bar. Be aware, crossing this bar on low tide is extremely dangerous. Once we get down onto the water, a couple of important things to do. Brief your crew so they know what's going on. Make sure everyone's got a PFD or a life jacket on.
Coastguard radio, Coastguard radio.
Put in a trip report before you leave the ramp with Coastguard so they know where you're going and what your intentions are for the day.
Holding on. Holding on.
We've just passed the Port Waikato store. It's at this point we start to lose signal on channel 18 and we'll pick up channel 2, which comes from the Raglan region. We're on the last stretch now before we get to the bar. It's from here that we'll start assessing conditions and deciding whether a crossing is going to be safe enough for us today or not.
Coastguard radio, New Zealand Steel Rescue called on 02.
Atmospheric conditions at the moment are playing havoc with VHF radio. We can't get through to Coastguard Ops room. Our next best option is cell phone. We'll call them through on star 500. Yeah, morning Jeff, Nigel here, Coastguard's Waiuku. We're 5 POB outbound Waikato River. We'll give you a call on the outside. You can see back behind us here the Port Waikato River Bar. Each side is white water, but there's a nice, clear, smooth patch of water in between, known as the River Bar Channel. That's the area that we're looking for, and we need to keep away from that white water at all costs. If the bar is white water all the way across, it's time to head home. If in doubt, don't go out. We've done our assessment on whether we're going to cross Port Waikato River Bar or not. This bar is a little bit unique where you need to do your assessment before you're able to get onto the leads. The leads up in the hill, you need to get a little way out to get over the trees in the forest to be able to see those. Be aware these signs may not always be in the correct place to cross the bar. Shifting sand, storms, river flow will all affect where the bar sits, and it could change any day of the week. We've lined up the markers. It doesn't look 100% across the bar. There's white water in the middle. Slightly north is a far cleaner area to cross. We're going to choose this area and go slightly off the lead marks. Do keep an eye on your depth sounder, because if you're chosen that position and there's not enough water there, that's going to cause you a lot of problems. A few boat handling tips for when you're heading out over the bar. Keep the boat reasonably flat. This helps you avoid jumping over the wave and losing steering, or hitting the water extremely hard when you come back down and possibly damaging the boat and the crew. We've come to the point now where we're outside the Port Waikato River Bar. The depth is starting to increase up to 11-12 metres, so we're clear of the sand. It's at this point that we'll close our bar crossing report with Coastguard to let them know we're safely through before we head off out deep chasing those big fish. Just before you're about to head back in, you've stopped, assessed the bar, counted the waves. Waves work in what we call a seventh.
Seventh coming up.
The seventh is often the largest wave. They'll calm back down from there and jack back up again. We advise once the largest wave has gone through, you then start your crossing back in. Ensure you put in another bar crossing report with Coastguard. On the way back in, we advise to sit on the back of the swell as close as you can. Follow that swell all the way back in. Whoever's on the helm will be focused on bringing the boat safely in through the swells and the waves.
Wave coming up behind us.
The person looking out the back of the boat will be helping the helm to understand if there's a swell chasing you and about to hop into the back of your boat. This needs to be avoided at all costs, as this will often cause a capsize or an engine failure. The waves on this bar don't always come directly behind you. Be aware the direction that the swell is operating in on your day of crossing. This can come from either the port side or the starboard side. If those waves are going to hit you, it may be you need to quarter the wave or head straight over it, depending on the handling capabilities of your vessel. Once you're safely across the bar, make sure you call Coastguard and close your bar crossing report.
Coastguard Radio, New Zealand Steel Rescue.
Once you're back at the trailer or the wharf, wherever you finish your trip for the day, ensure that you close your trip report.
Coastguard Radio, New Zealand Steel Rescue, Zulu Mike Tango 5650.
Steel Rescue, go ahead.
Safely back at Hood's Landing and closing down for the rest of the day. Thank you very much for your watch.
Remember, if you're looking to go out, the conditions aren't great. If in doubt, don't go out.